Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm Liang Zhang. Here's a preview of some of today's stories. The Mosquito fire became the largest blaze in the state this year. Firefighters are still working to control the growing wildfire and protect local communities. Attorney General Rob Bonta announced that the state is suing Amazon. We'll see what is accused of the online retail giant. And the state is considering on cutting back water use from the Colorado River. That's as the water supplies run ever drier. The Mosquito fire became California's largest wildfire this year. It's been driven by dryness instead of wind. NTD's Daniel Hall reports.
The Mosquito fire surpassed the McKinney fire to become the largest blaze to burn in California this year. The fire covers roughly 65,000 acres as of Thursday morning and is 20% contained. Scott McLean, spokesperson for the fire's Joint Command, told the LA Times that while wind is generally a major concern in the spread of wildfires, the Mosquito fire has largely expanded due to dry vegetation and a now past heat wave. Firefighters battle a spot fire that jumped the middle fork of the American River on Tuesday afternoon. They're now working to protect the mountain communities of Forest Hill and Georgetown. Smoke from the fire continued to blow throughout Northern California and beyond. Smoke is blanketing the area from Reno, Nevada to Sacramento, where air quality is expected to reach hazardous levels on Thursday and into the weekend. Daniel Hall, NTD News, California.
After Florida's governor sent around 50 illegal immigrants to a political resort, politicians have been taking their stances on it, including California's governor. Governor Gavin Newsom responded to illegal immigrants being sent to Martha's Vineyard by requesting the Department of Justice investigate Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Newsom wrote, "I strongly urge the U.S. Department of Justice to open an investigation into the possible criminal or civil violation of federal law based on this alleged fraudulent scheme." He listed kidnapping and organized crime as possible offenses. DeSantis responded to a reporter's question about the two planes of approximately 50 Venezuelan illegal immigrants he directed to land at Martha's Vineyard, described as a hideaway for the rich and famous, on September 14th. He criticized the response from people championing sanctuary cities, saying, quote, "Their virtual signaling is a fraud." California is suing Amazon, accusing the company of violating the state's antitrust and unfair competition laws. The state claims this stifles competition and pushes sellers to maintain higher prices on products on other sites.
On Wednesday, California Attorney General Rob Bonta filed an 84-page antitrust lawsuit against online retail giant Amazon. Bonta's office said Amazon used contract provisions to prevent third-party sellers and wholesale suppliers from offering lower prices for products on non-Amazon sites, including their own websites. That, in turn, harms the ability of other retailers to compete. The suit comes after a 2-year investigation that involved subpoenas and interviews with sellers.
In today's lawsuit, we allege Amazon's practices violate California unfair competition law and the Cartwright Act by thwarting the ability of other online retailers to compete, contributing to Amazon's dominance, and harming merchants and consumers through inflated fees and higher prices.
The suit claims that merchants who do not comply with Amazon's policy could have their products removed from prominent listings and face suspensions or account terminations. Bonta's office argues that, ultimately, the retail giant is helping itself maintain e-commerce dominance.
In this economic climate, we need to do all we can to ensure the market is fair, that it is competitive, so consumers are not forced to pay artificially inflated prices. And our businesses that play by the rules can succeed.
The lawsuit aims to stop Amazon from entering into contracts with sellers that harm price competition. It is also seeking a court order to have Amazon pay damages to the state for increased prices. State officials did not say how much money they are seeking. Amazon controls roughly 38% of online sales in the U.S. NTD reached out to Amazon for a comment.
Will House Speaker Nancy Pelosi try to keep her seat if Democrats hold on to the House majority this fall? She won't say, no matter how much reporters pushed her on the matter Wednesday. Take a listen.
Did you not? Are we speaking a different language? First we win, then we decide.
Pelosi talked about the Democrats' success heading into the midterm elections November 8th, pointing to two surprise victories in Alaska and New York, saying she and her colleagues, quote, fully intend to hold the House. Abortion is a big issue for both sides, and Pelosi believes there is conflict among Republicans on the matter, but she says Democrats are united. After a unanimous bipartisan vote by the California Assembly and Senate, California Governor Gavin Newsom has signed a human trafficking bill into law. The bill would require EMTs and paramedics to undergo training to identify potential victims.
Last week, Assembly Bill 2130, authored by Republican Assemblyman Jordan Cunningham, was signed into law by Governor Gavin Newsom. The law will require licensed EMTs and paramedics to undergo human trafficking awareness training that would help identify, interact with, and assist victims. According to Cunningham, the bill is intended to help reduce human trafficking and ultimately save lives. He told the California Globe, human trafficking victims are rescued by ordinary people who recognize the signs of trafficking and are brave enough to act. Cunningham has been a strong advocate for anti-human trafficking laws. He has successfully passed 4 major bills that include training to hospitality employees and adding civil penalties to hotel owners that don't report suspected human trafficking. Manuela Garcia, a victim of human trafficking, told the California Globe that these laws will help save lives and rescue victims. She said, quote, a paramedic coming to us in an accident and knowing what to look for would really help future victims not be hurt or sold or worse.
San Francisco police are the latest target for catalytic converter theft. 4 police vehicles had a catalytic converters stolen from them. 2 trucks and 2 vans, all unmarked SFPD. It happened on Monday afternoon just outside of their offices in Potrero Hill neighborhood. No arrests have been made. California is deciding whether or not it should conserve water being drawn from the Colorado River. That's as the river and its main reservoir are dropping to exceptionally low levels.
State officials are determining whether or not to cut water drawn from the Colorado River by at least 100 acre-feet at the behest of the federal government. An ongoing drought in California is stressing the Colorado River and its reservoir, Lake Mead. The main area affected by the proposed water cuts would be the Imperial Irrigation District. But the Water District says that they are already doing their best to conserve 500,000 acre-feet of water. Robert Shedler, the Public Information Officer for the Imperial Irrigation District, told NBC that conserving water may have negative impacts. These include the reduction of productive farmland and the negative effects on the Imperial Valley economy. Nevertheless, state officials are determined to leave at least 100 trillion gallons of water from the Colorado River in reservoirs. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
A Southern California water pipeline project that would transport water through an existing gas pipe has been met with another legal setback. A federal judge granted the withdrawal of key approvals granted during the Trump administration.
A federal judge ruled in favor of the Bureau of Land Management and against a company looking to pipe water into Southern California. In the Tuesday ruling, U.S. District Judge George Wu supported the Bureau's decision in delaying 2 right-of-ways for pipelines run by Cadiz Incorporated. Cadiz hopes to pipe water through 64 miles of unused gas pipelines. Many conservationists, environmentalists, lawmakers, including California Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein and the Biden administration, have strongly opposed these efforts, concluding that it would threaten a fragile desert ecosystem. Lisa Blanke, a senior attorney at the Center for Biological Diversity, told E&D News, quote, "We're pleased the court vacated this illegal Trump-era decision that would have allowed this massive water pipeline to move forward without the necessary environmental review." But many other groups supported the project and argued that the pipeline would help supply water to disadvantaged communities. Susan Kennedy, the executive chair of the Cadiz Board of Directors, said that the ruling will have no impact on the project. She said to E&D News, quote, Cadiz's ownership of the pipeline is unaffected by the court's ruling. She added that any extra environmental review will be done during existing construction.
We are going to take a short break, but here's a look at what we got for you when we come back. A statewide update to public schools' computers met with some bumps. We'll hear what's being done about it. Non-citizens will be allowed to vote in San Francisco's upcoming school board elections. That's after a judge's ruling was delayed from taking effect. That and more on California Today. Police stopped another large street takeover last week in Southern California. They estimate hundreds of vehicles were in attendance at the illegal sideshow.
The California Highway Patrol announced last week that they made 27 arrests and impounded 19 cars from a street takeover in Pomona. In an attempt to escape, one driver rammed his car into a patrol vehicle and was arrested for assault on a police officer. Another felony arrest was made after the police allegedly found a firearm and drugs in a search. Most arrests were for participating or spectating in the illegal event. Officers reported large amounts of smoke from burnouts and donuts. 100 to 150 vehicles were estimated to have gathered for the event. Street takeovers, also known as sideshows, have become increasingly popular in Southern California. A CHP street racing task force has been specifically created for the crackdown of these types of events. That comes after the newly completed 6th Street Bridge in Los Angeles was shut down in July to prevent similar takeovers. Bill Thomas, NTD News, California.
California recently rolled out an updated data management for K-12 schools, but the new update is causing many new problems.
The state's data management system for K-12 schools is in disarray following a problematic update. Named the California Longitudinal Pupil Achievement Data System, or CalPADS, the system stores data for all public school students. CalPADS keeps track of students who have disabilities, among other special needs. Schools are allotted money based on CalPADS data. The new system update was released with minimal testing. Michael Fine is the CEO of the Fiscal Crisis and Management System Team, or FCMAT. FCMAT is a state agency that helps maintain the data system. He told CalMatters that the rollout of the upgrade was, quote, less than satisfactory and did not follow the expectations of the field or FCMAT. Other problems have arisen because of this update, including the disruption of state testing earlier this year. This was caused by CalPADS generating inaccurate data about students with disabilities. In addition, other data has been disrupted, including enrollment numbers and student information. Since the update, many of the errors have been patched. However, nearly 100 known issues remain.
A California appeals court has decided to allow non-U.S. citizens to vote in San Francisco school board elections. That comes as the court delayed a previous ruling against the city ordinance.
As a result of an appeals court decision, non-citizens will be allowed to vote in the San Francisco school board elections come November. Earlier this year, San Francisco passed an ordinance allowing non-citizens to vote in school board elections. But California Superior Court Judge Richard Ulmer struck down the city's new law on July 29th. Then, an appeals court denied a request to expedite Ulmer's ruling in time for the general election in November. The appeals court decision wrote that, quote, the constitutional challenges are significant ones that are entitled to deliberate consideration. This means non-citizens can cast ballots in the November 8th election since Ulmer's ruling would not be in effect. James V. Lacey, an attorney who filed the lawsuit against the city ordinance, told the Epic Times that the procedural delay will harm election integrity and allow the counting of votes that a judge has already ruled are illegal. Bill Thomas, NTD News, California.
Mudslides hit parts of Southern California after a tropical storm blew through the area. Footage shows an officer rescuing a family during a storm over the weekend.
Body-worn camera footage shows officers from the San Bernardino Police Department rescuing a mother and her 2 children from a flash flood on Sunday. The rains were the remnants of a tropical storm that brought high winds and some badly needed rainfall to drought-stricken Southern California last week. The flash flooding occurred in parts of the San Bernardino Mountains where there are burn scars, areas where there's little vegetation to hold the soil from wildfires that hit the area in 2020.
NASA provided highlights from a Mars exploration. One of its rovers collected the rock samples from a popular crater to learn more about the red planet's life forms.
NASA's Perseverance rover is well into its second science campaign. It collected rock core samples from features within an area that scientists consider to be a top prospect for finding signs of ancient microbial life on Mars. The rover has collected 4 samples from an ancient river delta in the red planet's Jezero crater since July 7th, bringing the total count of scientifically compelling rock samples to 12. Ken Farley, a professor at Caltech, led the science team to design and build the Perseverance rover.
Jezero was selected for this mission because it meets several key mission goals. It allows us to explore an ancient habitable environment. It allows us to seek evidence of possible Martian life in rocks deposited at that time, about 3.5 billion years ago. And I want to emphasize, this mission is not looking for extant life, things that are alive today. Instead, we're looking into the very distant past when Mars's climate was very different than it is today.
Perseverance is currently investigating the delta sedimentary rocks formed when particles of varying sizes settled in the once watery environment. During its first science campaign, the rover found igneous rock, which forms deep underground from magma or during volcanic activity at the surface.
The mission is proceeding extremely well. We are making very good progress at understanding the geologic history, finding some surprises in the history of the crater, and we are also making good progress in collecting this suite of samples for the Mars sample return effort. And what you're going to hear is that the suite of samples that we have collected so far is sufficiently good that we are now considering them putting down a subset of them on the surface of Mars as a target for the future missions to pick up and bring back.
On July 20th, the rover abraded some of the surface of Wildcat Ridge, a rock about 3 feet wide that likely formed billions of years ago as mud and fine sand settled in an evaporating saltwater lake. The rover would analyze the area with the instrument called Scanning Habitable Environments with Raman and Luminescence for Organics and Chemicals, or SHERLOC.
So we found signals that we think are possibly from organic matter on every target that we've observed with SHERLOC to date. And this isn't really unexpected. It aligns with what we've learned from studies on Earth and Martian meteorites and from Mars research from our sibling rover Curiosity. However, it does say that organics seem to persist in the very harsh Martian surface environment, which is very exciting for us.
SHERLOC's analysis indicates the samples feature a class of organic molecules that are spatially correlated with those of sulfite minerals. Sulfite minerals found in layers of sedimentary rock can provide significant information about the aqueous environments where they formed.
There's another kind of term that we would use.
Now let's check in with NTD's Thomas Christian for today's Sports Roundup.
I'm Thomas Christian, giving you the California Today Sports Roundup. LeBron James criticized the NBA on Wednesday and said the punishment given to Phoenix Suns owner Robert Sarver for using racial and sexist slurs was not harsh enough. Sarver, who bought the Suns and the WNBA's Phoenix Mercury in 2004, was suspended by the NBA for 1 year and fined $10 million on Tuesday after an independent investigation into allegations over workplace misconduct. James said via Twitter that he read through the details of the Sarver story a few times and feels the league should have no tolerance for such behavior regardless of the offender's status. Sarver released a statement after the punishment was handed down and said he disagreed with some of the particulars of the NBA report, but wanted to apologize for his words and actions that offended employees. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, speaking to reporters after the league's Board of Investigators meetings concluded on Wednesday, indicated that Sarver's punishment could have been stiffer had investigators not determined that his use of slurs was not motivated by racial or gender-based animus. Swiss tennis great Roger Federer announced his retirement from competitive tennis on Thursday, saying next week's Laver Cup will be his final ATP tournament. The Swiss legend cited his numerous injuries and subsequent surgeries and his overall bodily health as the biggest reasons for leaving the game. Federer said the Laver Cup in London will be his final pro-style event, but that he will continue to play tennis going forward, but just not at the Grand Slam level. The 41-year-old Federer has played in over 1,500 matches in his 24-year career. Rams running back Cam Akers told reporters this week that he was surprised by his lack of playing time and snaps, saying he didn't expect to have such a limited role in Week 1. Rams head coach Sean McVay prioritized Darrell Henderson Jr. over Akers, although many outside the Rams locker room expected Akers to be the lead back. McVay said in his post-game press conference that he wants to see a, quote, increased level of urgency and accountability, snap in and snap out, from Akers. Akers responded to the statement by saying that if McVay wanted him to be more urgent, he would become more urgent. Henderson not only got the start over Akers, but played 82% of the Rams' offensive snaps in their Week 1 matchup against the Buffalo Bills. Akers totaled just 18% and gained 0 yards from scrimmage on his 3 carries. The 23-year-old Akers should get more of an opportunity at home against the Atlanta Falcons in Week 2, but in the National Football League, there are no guarantees.
As always, I'm Thomas Christian, and thanks for tuning in.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm Lane Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.